My name is Ville Olaskari. I go by the name Vola Noisy Stuff, and this is my entry to the 6th annual Moog Circuit Bending Challenge. In the competition, it has to be a battery-operated device that you circuit bend, and maximum cost in total should be $70, and that's around 66 euros and 30 cents. And thanks for Mike Sisk for letting me know that it's on this year as well. And my idea for this year is themed Tomorrow Never Knows or Revolver. And Revolver is an album by the Beatles, and Tomorrow Never Knows is one of my all-time favorite songs. And it uses tape loops, multiple tape loops. And if I understand correctly, they used pens to hold the loops when they were turning the record, and they used faders to fade them in and out during the song, so the song was a performance. So my idea is to use 4 tape recorders, John, Paul, George and Ringo, for doing the tape loops. And I found these message recorders, or sometimes called family recorders, and they have tape inside. They're battery operated and they have tapes inside, and they were only €1.50 each, so I bought 4. So they use 3 AA batteries. They have tape inside, a tape loop inside, and they work when you take it off the table, then it starts to play. You can hear it from the speaker, and if you want to record, you have to press record and talk to the mic. Mics that are meant to be used for old telephones that pick up the sound from the speaker, like they're the similar that they use on electric guitars. So it's not a contact mic. So my plan is to use these with the motors as well, and make a small keyboard that controls the speed of the motors, so a little bit like a theremin. And the idea is to have 4 of these going on, either a loop, or you can control all of them with these motors, so it's sort of like a mellotron as well. And the sound from this mic, from the motor, would go into an amp, and then to a hex inverter, and then to make it to a square wave, and then into a low pass filter. And also, I'm not sure yet, but the visuals could be either from the Revolver album artwork, or I just read yesterday that they're selling the mixing console. It's up for sale that they used in Abbey Road, so something inspired from that. I would want to case it in a suitcase so it would be portable, and use banana plugs to get the current from the current from the keyboard into the tape recorders, and the sound out as well. And then there would be a mixing there would be 4 mic inputs for each one of the recorders, or an instrument input, and there would be 4 faders for the individual recorders. So, and it would be cool to try and make the faders look like they were in the old consoles, like round, but we'll see if I have time to do that. So this is the idea, and we'll see what happens. Also, I would probably want to add maybe a delay, maybe a PT2399 delay or something. So you could also choose on the mixing console, do you want to hear the tape loop or the motor that's running on each of the 4 channels. Oh, and one idea is that all of the recorders would have a variable speed pod without the keyboard, so you could change the speed of the loop as well. Because the loop is quite long, I think it's somewhere maybe 10 to 20 seconds, so with this you could change the speed and make it faster or slower. So this is the case that I've been planning, that I've maybe will use in this project. It was an old picnic drinking suitcase. It had glasses for drinks and some spoons for stirring them. But we'll see if I can manage to fit everything here. But if I could, it would be awesome. So I got this huge some kind of power converter from a friend. Kiitos Kalle. I think it was from some school or something, so I'll try and reuse maybe these meters and this big knob and maybe this one knob as well for the design, but we'll see. These meters could be too big for the case that I'm using, but we'll see. Here I am at the new Alta Fab Lab with the laser cutter, and I found these in the trash. They're acrylic. I'm going to use them for the panels, and they were from the trash, so they were free. Just came back from the Fab Lab to doing the laser cutting, and it worked out super nice. It looks super nice. This is how it looks with the knobs, and just trying now. Next thing to do is to drill the holes. So I got this mixer that was broken for free, so I'm going to use these sliders. So I have to desolder them from the board. Now I removed the 4 sliders from the mixer PCB, and it was a bit harder than I thought. I broke one and I burned one from the inside somehow. But yeah, now I've got 4 working for the tape 4. Okay, this is the circuit from the tape recorders, and it has this trim pot here that you can control the speed with. But when you go to the maximum speed, it starts to pulse, so I'll see if I can use this place to control the motor speed somehow. This is the schematic for the tape recorder part that runs the motor, and my plan is to cut the traces from here and also here after the motor, and add a 4-way switch to make the motor, so to make the control for the motor. So the first settings will be 9 volts in through the circuit and 6 and 4.5, and the last one is the keyboard control that will go straight from the 9 volts, but there will be a resistor array with the buttons, so each button will have a different resistor value, and it will go straight to the motor, and from the motor it will go to ground and not through this circuit. So these are the panels right now, so I still have some finishing to do to them, to round up the holes, and have to figure out where to put the potentiometer somewhere, because I didn't put it here. So I will see where I put it. Here's the motor speed control with the 4-way switch, so maybe here, and the potentiometer, so you can kind of tune it a bit with different settings. And here are the buttons for where the resistors will go. And I tried to use B pulse width modulation for the motor, but when I used the mics for the oscillator circuit from the motors, because the pulse width is modulating, you can hear the actual pulse width circuit through the motor. So I don't want that, so that's why I choose just to use resistors with buttons. It probably will not be in tune, but I kind of don't mind that. And if you press more than one, it will probably change the tune anyway. So and the motors will not be in tune with each other anyway, so I don't kind of mind that. Just tape these slider measurement unit things here with the double-sided tape, and now I'm putting the sliders in, and these are the sliders that I got from the broken mixer, and it also had the knobs for it, so they were free. Here's a first test of 2 of the tape recorders and passive mixer. So here's the first channel, here's the second channel, and together now I'm making holes for the battery compartment. I'm reusing the ones from the tape recorder, and it's going to be a bit tricky because it needs to fit quite well between these potentiometers and other stuff here. Now I've done the holes for the battery compartments, and we'll see if I will leave this color or paint them black. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. The batteries compartments seem to be fitting all right, so there's enough room under the pots and everything, so they will fit. I spray painted the battery compartments with black spray paint, and there's one coat of lacquer to protect the paint, so now I have to glue them to the box. I'm going to solder some resistors between the buttons to make it to make the motor go slower. So one side of the buttons will be tied to the power, and the other one will be tied to the motor, and the resistors will go in between, so they will be in series. I've soldered the resistors to the switches, and it sounds something like this. Doing a first test with the mic in here, just going straight from the mic to the recorder, and this is how it sounds. Now I've done the mods for the motor, so the wires from the motor go to this switch, and you can select the speed with these. So the fast speed will go to the power will go to 9 volts, and then 6 and 4.5, and then they will go to the circuit, normal circuit that's on here. And I took the trimmer off and added a pot, so you can change the speed. And the last setting is for the keyboard control, so the keyboard control comes from this. And also on the other half of the switch, it goes the first 3 ones goes to the circuit, back to the circuit, but the last one, the keyboard control, goes to ground. I've glued all of these plexiglasses together, so now I have to screw them down. And I noticed that sometimes when you change the speed, the motor doesn't start running, or the motor runs but it doesn't start turning the tape. So I made this small hole here, and I'm going to attach some recycled piano wire through it, so you can kind of pull it if it doesn't start moving. So I made these small holes here, so this will come through the hole, so you can kind of pull it a little bit so it will start to move. I'm ready to put the first tape recorder into the faceplate and to the box. So what I've done with it is that I took the PCB from the back and put it in. It's held with these screws here, and I put this. I had some leftover vinyl tape, so I used some vinyl tape just to make it show that it's spinning. And here are soldered wires to the switch for the motor speed and the motor control pot here. And these wires are recycled wires from some stereo. I don't know, I don't remember. They go to the in, and I also have wires for the out, to the out, and some wires for the power for the amplifier. And this is the button that was in the original box, so I'm reusing it as well for the record button. All of the tape recorders are inside the faceplate, and it took quite a while to get them right, but they're soldered and the pots, so the only ones missing are the power rails for the motors. And I still have to put the mics in and make the circuits for the mics and the filter and the delay also. But I think that will be way easier than putting these inside. And also I can't use screws because they're just impossible to put from the inside between these two motors. So I have to figure out a way to get these panels in here. Maybe just glue them or something, I'm not sure. We'll see. This is the circuit I'm going to use for the mics for the motor oscillators. It's a circuit designed by Tim Escobedo. It's a part of his design, and the mix will go into the 386 amplifier, and then it will be squared up with the hex inverter 40106. And in the Tim Escobedo's design there was a part here to change the pulse width frequency. I'm just going to use fixed resistor values, and I will probably change these for all of the 4 ones, so they will sound a bit different. And I'm also going to use these inverters, all of them, so I don't need 4 of these. I will just use 2 of these for all of the 4, but I will need 4 of the 386s. Here's the finished circuit board for the microphones. So the microphones, I cut the microphones off, and then they go into the amplifier circuit, and then they go into the hex inverter to be squared, and then they come off. So there's 4 amplifiers for 4 mics that will go on to the motors and 4 outputs. And it seems to be working fairly well. There's a nice hole here next to the motor, so I'm going to glue these mics in place right there on the corner. So that will be next. I changed all of the banana blocks from these taller ones to these much more shorter ones, because I was a bit concerned that these would hit one another or some of the pots here or something. So I changed them. When I designed the faceplate, I designed that they wouldn't hit, but I'm not sure because I added these pots afterwards, and so it's much simpler to use these ones, and these ones are all also a bit cheaper than these taller ones. So I just finished making the low pass filter circuit. Here's the circuit, and it's based on this Pete McBennett's LDR synth that you can find on YouTube. And this is just part of the filter, and it works now. I have to put it into the tape 4. All of the circuits are now done. This is the last one, the PT2399, and all I have to do now is put the powers onto each board and put this in the middle between here and the lower part. So there will be power and ground, so they'll all be grounded together, and drill this output jack, and then it should be done. These are the buttons to control the motor speed, and here's the motor speed out, and in through here there comes power to the buttons and also ground, so they all share the same ground with the upper part. And here's the audio out. Finished up the wiring for the top part as well, and it's a bit messy, but hopefully it will work. We'll see. I've put the upper part and the lower part together and wired them. There's an issue with the suitcase going. When I try to fold it, this knob will hit this knob. So I'm not sure what to do. I really want to keep the big knob, so I'll maybe try and change this knob, the smaller one. We'll see. What I may have to change the bigger one, which will be a pity. Now all the circuits are done and they're working. So the patch is now set that the tape is going to the delay and to the filter, and I'm controlling it with the keyboard. Now I'll just have to put the upper part to the case and put these and all of the knobs, and then it's done. My plan was to use screws to put these in, but it was impossible to put the nuts on the other side, so now I just super glued these 3, and it works, but I would have wanted to use screws. I had to change the big knob from the middle because it was hitting this knob over here, so now it's this smaller one, which is a bit pity because I really like the big one, but now it closes. So, and it's finished.